Hello and welcome to the Celtic Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Jarrod, and joining me tonight are Sean and Liam. How are you, Liam?
Yep, doing good, thanks, Jared. This is the second online thing I've done today. I've just spent all day at a teaching seminar, so I'm kind of getting fly for all this online stuff now.
Now, I was worried you were going to say the second online thing you've done today. You know, the first one was you went on to something like RedTube or Brazzers or some online porn like that, mate.
Hey, come on, look, I get these forearms at the gym, all right? I get them the natural way.
Then why is one bigger than the other?
That's a good question, which I don't have an answer to. So,
How are you, Sean?
Yeah, good. Yeah, got a nice haircut today, just like Liam. I can see.
Got his ears lowered. Look out!
I'm a Sean.
Oh, we need to have it's a dad joke. Straight through the keeper. Let it go. So, just everyone who has subscribed to the Celtic Down Under podcast, we appreciate that. We've seen a bit of a growth there, so keep up the good work and keep subscribing if you haven't already done so. We'll jump straight in. So, first game was Celtic 3, Ferencvaros 2. It was a pretty even game, in my opinion. Wasn't a crazy man possession difference. 12 shots for us, 15 to them. Passing accuracy is the same. They had more fouls. Starting lineup for us was Joe Hart in goals, Ralston, Carter Vickers, Welsh, Juranovic, Bitton, McGregor and Turnbull in midfield, Jota, Abada and Furuhashi up front. Sean, what was your take on the game?
Yeah, it's nice to get a win away in Europe. I guess you could say, I was going to say again, but not really. We've not been doing so great. I heard a stat that we've scored the first goal something like 8 out of 11 of our last away games. I mean, I'm guessing that includes qualifiers, but that doesn't mean that I didn't actually get a chance, being so busy with work, to look up the actual stats. But I don't think the score line was unfair. I think we did play well. And, you know, like, Bitton looked good, Turnbull looked good. We hit the bar. We had a couple of Kyogo had one cleared off the line. They had one that rattled the bar as well. So again, it was a good game. It was an open game. Sort of football you like to see. It was interesting the way as well they had the strips. Like, we couldn't wear that away strip against Hibs, but we could against Ferencvaros for the green and white. It was a bit of a weird one. But yeah, I thought that everyone was going nuts about the front three. I thought it was mainly just Kyogo and Jota, and Abada managed to get a good goal in the second half. But yeah, Turnbull, Bitton were good. Yeah, we could have defended a bit better, but that boy, I actually didn't catch his name. The one that rattled that shot with outside his boot off the bar. He looks a player. I wouldn't mind having him. Was it Nguyen or someone else?
Which one is it? They're number 10? Yeah, Nugent.
I think so. Yeah. Man, that was a real quality shot. I would be thinking about having a look at him as a possible signing, because that was, like, the technique there was really good. I don't know too much about him. I'm just pulling it up just now. It said 28, plays for Norway. Sorry?
Yeah, it was Tokmak Nguyen.
Yeah, plays for Norway.
Oh, what a combination. He's a Kenyan, born in Kenya, South Sudanese refugee parents, and plays for the Norway national team.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not the best age profile, but he looked a great player. Yeah, it was good. Great to get a win. Good to guarantee European football after Christmas. I'm still very sceptical about us actually progressing in the Europa League. We need to take something in Leverkusen, realistically, because Ferencvaros are going to lose to Betis, and that puts us, if we don't take something off Leverkusen, we'd be more than 4 points behind. It would be 4 points behind Betis and 7 behind Leverkusen. So I'm still expecting the Conference League, but we've given ourselves a good account. 2 wins on the coefficient, and we should be in line to get at least another point or 3 out of the remaining games.
That player you mentioned there, Sean, that Nguyen, is however you say his name, I'm hopeless with it. I'm butchering it every time. So, but I just looked him up. Senior debut. He was there for 8 years at Strømsgodset in Norway. He was there when Ronnie was the manager.
That's right. Ronnie Dial, yeah.
There you go. He's He's one of Ronnie's boys.
Maybe Ronnie can put a word in.
Agent Ronnie, get into it. I actually thought their left back was pretty good as well. Sivic.
Sivic. Yeah.
25-year-old left back, Bosnian international.
Yeah, I actually thought they were better this year than when they beat us last year. I actually thought,
great.
Yeah, like the game that they beat us last year, we dominated that game like very comprehensively, and like these were kind of even games this year that we just kind of won on just being slightly better and being more clinical, you know. So it's good. It's progress, you know. It's good to see. It's part of a nice wee kind of successful run we've got going since the previous international break. So it's nice.
Come on, Sean. That's later on in the episode. Yeah, but yeah, we're doing well there. But for me, it's it's one of those things where I'm looking at the game and you're saying, you know, I actually thought they were better than last time. Agreed, but the 3-2 result, I wasn't even worried. Even when they got that late goal, I wasn't worried. I didn't see them beating us. So, I love that we scored 4 of the 5 goals in the game. But we'll get Liam's opinion on the game now. Over you.
Yeah, I think it was just a really good, open, entertaining game of football where both teams went for it. You know, I'm going to sound like an old granda here, but in the days of the old European Cup when it was just straight knockout, you used to get games like this all the time because this was essentially a knockout because whoever lost was basically no chance of any European football after Christmas. So it was played like an old-fashioned shootout, and I thought it was brilliant. A really good game. I think 3-2 flattered Ferencvaros a wee bit because I think we were better than that. I think they played well, but I think we were clearly the better team. And had it finished 3-1, I think that would have been a slightly fairer reflection. But, you know, losing a couple of goals keeps us humble as well. It keeps the defence on their toes. It reminds us that we've still got a wee bit to go there. But I do see the whole team just getting better with every game we play. And it's really, really encouraging right now.
Just
back
on the point.
Back in my day, Liam. Sorry, Sean, what were you going to say?
Just on the point of the defence there, since Starfelt's went out injured, we've been conceding goals. Like, we've conceded more goals in the 2 games he's been out than the previous 6 combined. So, as much as I bag the guy out every time, because, the previous 6 games, we conceded 2 goals across the 6 games, and then we've conceded 4 since then. So, stats sometimes lie, and maybe they are this time, but that's pretty damning in a sense.
I don't think it's damning, Sean. I think it could be a couple of reasons for that. Number one, there's no real chance for Welsh and Carter Vickers to build any sort of consistency playing together because it's been Starfelt and Carter Vickers pretty much since the last international break, so that's part of it.
Fair.
And the other thing is Welsh and Carter Vickers are both very similar type of centre-backs, in my opinion. So at least when you got Starfelt there, there's like that bit of variance, and one's more of a passer and more of a ball player when the other one's more an old-fashioned centre-back. So,
yeah, I like that Starfelt gets into the physical challenge as well. I still hate the fact that he tackles with his wrong foot and plays on the wrong side and can't pass the ball, but he does seem to be more physical than Welsh is. But Welsh definitely carries the ball out and passes it better. So it's a bit like, I don't know, it's almost horses for courses if you're choosing which one. And like these away games against Ferencvaros and Dundee when the ball's coming high and in there and getting physical, I don't know. Would you prefer Starfelt? Probably.
Well, speaking about our centre-back situation, and it was announced today that, Julian has basically got to get through 2 solid weeks of training before he'll probably make it back to the squad. And the plan is for him to be back playing by the end of the year. That's what was reported in a couple of sources today. So, yeah, that could help us out in this situation if it happens again as well. I know we touched on it last week on the pod, but, yeah, I think that's good to see that there's some light at the end of the tunnel and a bit of a game plan there from Celtic on how they're going to manage him back into it.
I heard they were looking to set up some bounce games to get minutes in the legs.
Makes sense because we've got a bunch of guys there who need it. If we had the old reserve league, perfect. You bring them back through that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing a story like guys like Paul McStay would come back from injury through the reserves.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong with that. But if you had guys like that level of player coming through the reserves, why can't a guy like Julian? If you got a guy like Giakoumakis who needs to play and he's not playing because our front three is playing that well together at the moment, then okay, I wouldn't mind seeing Giakoumakis get a run around the reserves. Wouldn't mind seeing letting Montgomery get some more games. Wouldn't mind seeing Dane Murray get some games.
And they were making... Sorry, carry on.
So if there was an actual proper reserve league where, it was against men, perfect. But they've got to play bounce games. Oh, well, that'll do the same job.
Yeah, I'm not sure who it was, the pundit on BBC that was making the point that, like, the reserve league used to be like a full throttle competitive men against men thing where, like, the guys that were playing in the reserves were playing to try and win a spot in the first team. Like, it wasn't just like a youth team kind of thing. It was you're trying to get your way into the first team. And I think one thing that kind of works against it nowadays is the 7 subs on the bench thing, whereas back in the day it was only 3. I think if you were going to bring it back now, you would have to put it on a Sunday or like a Monday. You know what I mean? So be right, okay, you 5, you didn't get a game at the weekend. You sat on the bench, get out there, play 90 minutes for the reserves, I think it'd be good for that.
I agree with you 100%. Like there was a guy down at Man City. Can't remember his name. He's a young kid. He came off the bench, scored in his first Premier League goal, had 23 minutes of playing time or whatever it was. So because he didn't hit his minimum 30 minutes on the field that he needed, the same day he went and played the full reserves game or the under-23 league game, and he scored a hat-trick there as well that night. So, it's doable. As long as you've got the right people in place, like we've got what's it called? Sports scientist in to run the show now. We've got phys. As long as the workload isn't going to be too much, and you're playing guys in the reserves who need the minutes in their legs so that they'll be ready if they have to jump straight into the first team, or you got guys who aren't playing enough minutes, like the young guys come through, so they drop back to play that. That makes sense. Like Colts is great, but that's all for the kids. You can't have a guy like James Forrest come back through the Colts.
Here's an idea to get some extra cash as well. Set it up down at the proposed new stadium at Barrowfield to happen at like 5 o'clock or 5:30 on a Saturday. So say we have a good win on the Saturday, everyone's in a good mood, head down to Barrowfield, watch the reserves and have a bar, selling drinks there. That's got to be worth a few grand.
That'd be worth a bit, yeah.
I mean, I know that I've been to a few junior games the last couple of times I've been back in Scotland, and the social club element of it is great. It is really good being able to go and watch a game of football and then go for a pint, and it's like a pub in the same building. I think like having something like that connected to the reserves would be a good way to go.
Yeah, I used to do that with Queen's Park. I used to go to it. And I used to work at Partick Thistle and places like that too. But yeah, it is good. Yeah. There's definitely, could be doing something there, I think.
It's funny you say that, guys, because one of my mates who moved over from England, crazy Man United fan, when he came over, he went to our first A-League game together. He's like, "What? You're allowed to have beer and take it down to your seat? What is this?" He's like, "Over there we can go get a drink, but you can't take it to the seat. You got to drink it in the bar, in the stadium or outside the whatever, and then you can come back into your seat." And in Scotland you can't even do that. So, yeah. It's like, what sort of witchcraft is this that we're allowed to take beer down to our seat and drink it and have beer showers and everything?
The J-League would blow his mind. In the J-League, there's a pretty girl with a keg of beer strapped to her back who will come to your seat and pour you a pint.
Oh, far out.
Yeah. Anyway, let's. Any final thoughts on the Ferencvaros game, boys, or should we just crack on?
No, I think crack on.
Okay, Celtic 4, Dundee 2. Jota with a double, Furuhashi with a double. Pretty dominant possession. game for us. 24 shots to their 5, 82% possession at 18. We had close on 600 more passes. Their pass accuracy was 50%. Ours was 88. But above all else, how good for our third goal was seeing Charlie Adam get absolutely knocked on his ass, and then the cross coming in for the goal.
Oh yeah, I started touching myself at that point.
I think that's why Liam's got a big arm. There it is.
Do you know what else was great about that was that it started the crowd singing one of my favourite songs about Charlie Adam's sister's pants.
I was going to say Charlie Adam went down faster than his sister there, allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. On a Celtic supporters bus.
Yeah, but anyway, Sean, what's your thought on the game in general?
Look, quite a few thoughts actually. I really enjoyed it. The 2 goals were a bit of a, like, you know, getting a bit of shite in your sandwich or a piss on your cereal. Do you know what I mean? Like, but apart from that, it was really good. Like, I really enjoyed the football we played. The first goal, I thought we were fortunate, and they were talking about an offside after the game. I watched it like 10 times and didn't see an offside. I saw Kyogo was offside, but he had nothing to do with it, so I don't know what they're talking about there. That came from BBC. They were saying it. I was like, I don't know, maybe somebody can enlighten me. I really didn't see where they're getting that from. Ralston, fucking hero, man. If Jota had not, the fullback for Dundee, was it Cammy Kerr, the right back? My God, he was turned inside out, upside down. He's probably shaking like Michael J. Fox style today. Like, he's been so, like, he was absolutely rinsed. Like, I felt pretty bad for the guy by the end of the game. I was like, put him out of his misery, take him off the park. Like, I swear. Like that, the third goal, not the third goal, the fourth goal, when Jota just, like, I was like, honestly, somebody just take this guy off. If this is the Grand National, they'd be putting a blanket up and somebody be coming out with a shotgun. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. By the third goal, I was no longer touching myself. I was already spent. But yeah, I really enjoyed those goals, man. Like, Jota was great. When he scored, once the fourth goal went in, I was like, right, man of the match is over. Jota's got it. And it was like Kyogo. Kyogo for me was the 4th best player on the pitch, even though he played brilliantly, scored 2 great goals. He was only the 4th best player on the pitch. I thought Jota was the man of the match. I thought Ralston was absolutely heroic and unbelievable. Would you give him 3 assists? Is that one off the post count?
I would say so.
Yeah, so 3 assists from Ralston. He's getting on the end of crosses, putting in great tackles, bouncing Charlie Adam. And I thought the other guy that had a great game was Near Bitton. I thought he was outstanding as well. The one where he just starts dancing past Dundee players and one of them has to just scythe them down. I was like, right, okay, this guy's coming back into form. I'm enjoying this. So hopefully he doesn't get injured when he's away with Israel. And hopefully he doesn't play centre-back anymore either for country or club. The only other thing that I noted was that Dundee got 6 bookings overall. So unless the rules have changed, they'll be getting a fine in the post, because if you get 5 or more, that's failure to control your players, and you get a fine, bringing the game into disrepute, all that sort of thing.
I've only got just 5 here, Sean.
Didn't they get one at the end? Maybe I'm getting mixed up. Anyway, 5 or more is
still
failure
fine,
to control your... 5. Yeah, so 5 is a failure to control your players and a fine. So I hope they answered that. Or I hope somebody... I mean, look, none of the bookings were unfair. If anything, they could have had another 1 or 2.
Aye, and to be honest, I think most of the bookings were just lack of ability and frustration at the fact that they were being run ragged. You know, yellow cards are yellow cards, but I think I almost feel a wee bit of sympathy for them with the way that they were just ripped apart, you know?
I don't.
No, like, it takes you back to the Tommy Burns times. Do you know what I mean? I know people have been making that Three Amigos comparison, but we're one Van Hooijdonk short of that. But you've definitely got a new Di Canio in Jota. Well, a less fascist Di Canio in Jota. maybe we'll find out that like Jota's actually look, Portugal's a socialist country, so maybe we've got the socialist Di Canio.
Sean, the fact that you're touching on that, like on 67 How they had a video where they were talking to Scott McDonald, right? And they were saying, the Celtic front three, are they all on track for 20 goals this season? And with how they're charting at the moment, you look at, what's it called? Kyogo's already on like 14 goals or 13 goals and he missed a month. So he's on track for it. Jota's on track. Abada, in terms of a stat like goals and assists combined, he's on track for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing they asked Scott was, when was the last time Celtic had a front three that all scored 20 goals a season? Across all three. Who do you think it would have been?
Well, just based on context, I would say the Three Amigos, but if it's someone else, I might have a different guess for you.
Go on, have a guess.
Okay. There we go.
Go on,
Liam. Go, Liam.
Larson, Hartson and Sutton.
What are you going to say, Sean?
I forgot about that. No, just based on contextual clues, I might have said Hesselink, McDonald, and Zurawski, but that was just nothing more than contextual clues.
But barrel to both of you. Yeah. You got to go back to when Dalglish was there in the Quality Street gang. That's how far back to go.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So if they do it, that shows what we're seeing.
Yeah. Wow, that's good. That'd be good. But yeah, like I think Kyogo is Cadete, the new Cadete. I think Jota is the new Di Canio. There's no Van Hooijdonk though. Giacomakis actually might have it in him, but I'm not seeing it yet. And Abada's going to be out of the team for Forest once Forest is fit. Yeah,
so
that's what I think.
Your take, Sean. What do you reckon, Liam? Will Abada hang in there when Forest is back, or what are you thinking?
I think you might see a bit of rotation there, but I think they'll both, I could see Abada ended up with about 12 to 15 goals this season. And Forrest, if he gets a wee run, possibly coming in with 8 to 10 goals as well. So I think between the two of them, they'll more than cover the 20.
My thoughts, and this is a weird one, is Abada will get rotated because he's young, and that makes sense. Kyogo will get rotated because of how many games we're playing, but that's fine. So if we bring in Days and Maeda, as we've been talking about, he'll give coverage across the whole front four. Mm-hmm. So he can help in the striker position, he can help out wide right, he can help out wide left and give Jota a bit of a break if he needs it. I struggle. If we bring in Maeda and then with Forrest coming back from basically 2 straight injury-interrupted seasons, I struggle to see how he's going to fit. Like, don't get me wrong, he's on 98 goals, 98 assists or something like that, so he's not far off bringing up the ton in both of them, and that's great. I want him to. But I look at him and go...
I thought he was over 100.
I thought he was just short.
I don't know. I need to check that.
Yeah. Last I saw it was like 98 and 97 or 98 and 98. But anyway, like I look at it and go, how's he going to, where's he going to fit? With how dynamic we're playing and how high pressing and high tempo, yes, he'll be able to do that, but is he going to be able to handle it after 2 straight injury-interrupted seasons? That's what my one concern is.
Yeah, I feel like they're easing him in. And look, a lot of players, after the last international break, a lot of the players that didn't travel came out firing. So whatever they did during the last break, I'm hoping they do the same with Forrest and the other players that are stiffing about.
Yep. Well, speaking about international breaks, then we'll just go through the Celtic players who got call-ups. So for the Scotland senior team, we had McGregor and Turnbull. For Israel, we had Bitton and Abada. For Northern Ireland, we had Hazard got called up. Kyogo got called up for Japan, and Juranovic got called up for Croatia. And Welsh and Montgomery got called up for Scotland under 21s, and Dane Murray for Scotland under 19s. So, other than that, we've got a lot of players who will still be around, which is going to be a good thing for Andrew, give him some training time with the boys on the pitch, a couple of weeks without. Yes, he's going to be missing some key players, but a couple of uninterrupted weeks there of training. So that's always a good thing. Now, what I wanted to touch on, you touched on it earlier, Sean, about results since the last international break. So we've played 7 games. We've won 6 and drawn 1. 16 goals for and 5 goals against. So we had a 2-0 win against Motherwell, 2-0 against Ferencvaros, 2-0 against St Johnson, 3-1 against Hibs, 0-0 draw against Livy, 3-2 against Ferencvaros, and 4-2 against Dundee. So, what do you reckon? Anything you want to point out in there while we touch on that, or are we going to go into the upcoming games?
Well, just before the last international break, when we dropped points against Dundee United, I made the point that if we want, I was very, very much more down on our chances than you guys were. And I said, I'm not believing it until we go on a winning run of at least 8 in a row. And I was referring purely to the league, but we've played 8 games since I made that point, and we've won 7 of them, and we're a penalty away from winning 8. So they're certainly showing me what I was asking for, even though we've not actually achieved it, literally.
So get it up, yeah?
Yep, get it up, mate. Yep. I will eat humble pie while I'm drinking champagne at the end of the season, hopefully.
Brilliant. Anything you want to, any comments there, Liam?
Well, I'm just going to reiterate what I said before. I maintain that if we are within 6 points of the Huns come New Year, we'll win the league. And we're only 4 points behind them just now. So all we've got to do is maintain what we are just now. They will drop points before Christmas. I think we might draw a game or 2 before Christmas as well. But if we are pretty much where we are now come New Year, then we go out and beat them, as I fully expect we will. Yeah, we're going to go on and win this league.
It's a bit of a interesting one because people are taking points off each other all over the league. Like you have a look at Aberdeen, for instance. They have a good win one week and then they get pumped the next. So it's like the league's all over the place. You got Hearts who are they've been doing pretty well. So if we go through what's coming up between now and the winter break. So our first game back after the break is away at St Johnson. Then we've got away against Leverkusen in the Europa League. Then at home against Aberdeen, at home against Hearts, and away against Dundee United. Then at home against Real Betis in the Europa League. At home against Motherwell in the league. Then Ross County, St Mirren, and St Johnson all away in the league. And then we've got Hibs and Rangers at home. However, the game against St Mirren away could potentially be delayed because there could be the League Cup final that day if we beat St Johnson first game back.
Oh, yeah, I forgot St Johnson's League Cup. Yeah.
So realistically, for me, looking at that, we had all those away games against last season's top 6, and now we're starting to get all those home games in the next batch of games there, the next 12 matches. We've got Aberdeen, Hearts, Motherwell, Hibs, and Rangers all at home.
Mm-hmm.
So the key thing, in my opinion, is that block of 3 games there where it's Ross County, St Mirren, and St Johnson all away. That's going to be, if we're going to drop points, I think those will be the banana skin games for us.
Well, they're all bottom half teams.
Yeah, but they're all away.
Oh, yeah, I know, of course. But, Dundee United away is the hardest one on paper. But it's like if you try and pick the ones we're going to drop points from, it'll be a different one. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just what happens. But, yeah.
I look at it and go, well, Hearts, we always struggled against them at their place because it's a really small ground.
Well, we were also a shambles at that point.
Yeah. So now you get them on our wide open spaces at Celtic Park, and I think we'll do a number on them. Motherwell, not too worried. Hibs, well, we played them not too long ago. So, and Rangers, I don't think they did anything overly impressive there to, beat us last time. So, I'm honestly not worried.
The problem is that we're conceding goals from in the air, set pieces, crosses, and that's where they've been scoring goals against us in recent history. So, we need to fix that rather than look in the other direction.
But if the rumours are true, Sean, they're going to lose all their coaching staff in the next week anyway down at Aston Villa. So, they'll be all sorts of disjointed and shit by then.
Maybe. Maybe not. It's hard to say. Can't predict it, really.
I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised that Steven Gerrard didn't get offered the Barcelona job. I mean, any guy that can win 55 titles in 1 year, he's got to be worth something, right?
Fair point. Yeah. Oh dear. I'm not sure. I mean, I'd be surprised. I'm surprised he's even been mentioned, but there is. I don't know. But the Huns, I think their board would push him out the door for the money they'd get.
Aye.
To be honest. About $2.5 million, apparently, is what his.
Is that all it is?
Yeah, that's all it is.
Well, for him and all of them, or just him?
Just him.
Oh, well, probably about
the add-ons for the others. They'll probably get another $1 million for that.
Yeah, 4 or 5 when you, or maybe about 4 when you add on the rest. But yeah.
Yeah. So Liam, out of those fixtures, anything games there that jump out at you as ones you're worried about?
What I'm thinking about, when we've got that block of 3 away games against, supposedly weaker teams, conversely, wouldn't Rangers then be getting like Hearts or Hibs or Aberdeen or something at Ibrox? A game that might upset them.
Yeah.
So that could be a time of a swing either way. If we win those 3 games and Rangers drop anything, then it'll be squeaky bum time for them, and that's exactly what you want going into a Glasgow derby.
They're away to Livy, Hibs, Hearts, and Aberdeen.
Well, there you go. Aye.
Yeah.
Hibs, Hearts, and Aberdeen could all do something, and Livy can beat anybody on their own ground if they get the right bit of luck.
Mm-hmm. And then they need to go to Celtic Park. So that's crucial, really. The New Year's game is crucial. A draw is not good enough. We need to win that.
Aye.
All right. So jumping ahead, we've just got some news topics from things that have come out in the news over the last week. Rumours, all the bloggers and the shit red tops and stuff are all reporting. So a bunch of different things here that are being reported in multiple different way they put it out, different things, whether it's blogs or articles, but it's all over the place. So we'll just go through a few things. I'll give a quick little rundown, and then we'll just quickly whip through them all, boys, so we can spend more time talking about something else a bit later on. So Rangers announced a $23.5 million loss for last season. They reportedly need a loan of $7.5 million to see out the season. Over the last 9 years, they've had an overall loss of £100 million. What are your thoughts on that, Sean?
I mean, it's barely news anymore, is it? It happens every year. If you think about it, if they had made the Champions League, they wouldn't be seeing that loss. They'd actually probably be reporting a profit or close enough to break even. So it's really just we were gambling on Champions League or we were gambling on stopping the 10, and without Champions League, it's fucked. And I think they'll probably keep cashing those checks until the end of the season, because whoever wins the league this year gets a guaranteed $40 million. And I think we need to watch out for that, because desperate animals are dangerous, and they are clearly desperate and they'll be absolutely rabid and desperate trying to get that Champions League money. So we do need to be aware of that. It's something we do need to be conscious of. I don't really.
Dave King said in an article where he was saying that they the plan was to get in the champ. If they win it this year, they'll be out of their debt.
But basically, they're not in any debt, but they'll break even. They'll
break even, and they won't have the issues. Yeah, they'll be able to pay off all their loans and everything, and then they're back on an even keel again.
And then the player trading model kicks in when players can prove themselves in the Champions League, etc., etc. I heard that we've pulled in I can't remember the number, but in the last 20 years we've pulled in over 12 million for a dozen or 14 players or something, and they've not done it once. So, like, that's when you get that proving ground for your players, then the values increase and you can start to operate in that model. So again, it's like a cycle that if we can win this year, we could really put a hole in their ship under the water. If they win it, we're going to be on a struggle. I'm not saying we won't win it or get back next year, but it'll breathe life into them financially, and they need it. I don't know. Another way to look at it is when they needed it this year, they didn't get it. They bottled it. So who knows? Maybe they'll bottle it again. I don't know. It could cut both ways, but it's just something we need to be aware of for that reason, because it is in their minds and their what they need to achieve.
Yeah, and there's also statistics don't lie. They are getting help from referees. They're getting help with penalties. They're getting help with a complete lack of red cards. The statistics do not lie. Rangers are being given an advantage. And it's all part of this plan, whereby they need to win the league this year to stave off. I mean, the thing is, if we assume that they lost 23 million last year, right, and they've been losing money every year since they were born, basically. Aye, there's the figures there, which I can't quite make out.
Yeah, which I'll read through if you want.
But my point that I'm getting to is that 23.5 million is last year, right? They need another 7.5 million to make it to the end of the season. That's 30.5 million, right? Champions League is 40 million. But that's assuming they're going to break even the rest of this season. I don't see them doing that. They could easily lose another 10 million between now and then, in which case all the Champions League money does is just go straight into that financial black hole.
Well, if they don't get it, then that's... Do you know what I mean? Like, you're comparing... We're not talking about... We're not saying they're going to be healthy if they get it, but we're saying compare outcome A versus outcome B. And how desperate they are.
This has got the potential to be the 2011 for them all over again with the Champions League.
Yeah, it could be an insolvency event. Yeah, it could be. The difference is this time they don't really owe much money to anyone. Like, it's all just to the directors. Board.
Yeah. So that list that I've got here of all their losses, this what I'm about to read through shows exactly why we need financial fair play in Scotland. In the 2012-2013 season, they lost 14.4 million. In the 2013-14 season, 8.5 million. 14-15 season, it was 9.9 million. The 15-16 season, they lost 2.5 million. In the 16-17 season, it was 6.3 million. In the 17-18 season, they lost 13.2 million. In the 18-19 season, they lost 11.64 million. In the 19-20 season, they lost 15.9. And then, the 2021 season, they lost 23.5 million. So that's a total of 105.64 million lost in, I think it's 9 seasons.
So even before COVID, they're still losing 10 million a year, average.
Yep. And with financial fair play, the rules are you can't lose more than 30 million in a 3-year period. So they'd be right teetering on the edge. You look at the last 2 seasons, they'd be cooked.
How much money did Gretna lose?
Would not have a clue.
I'm reading here. It says they went into administration and liquidation with debts of 4 million. So
Banks wanted to shut Celtic down before Fergus came in for how much was it? Like
I think it was 6, if I remember correctly.
6 million or 5 or 6 million. Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing was, at that time, Rangers had about 12 million in debt when they were trying to shut Celtic down for 6.
Yeah.
And
anywho, financial fair play. Get it done, Scottish football. Has to happen.
Establishment FC.
Yep. Liam, the next thing that was on the news, and that was for you. Rio Hatate, just Celtic rumours. Apparently he'd be cover for both the left back and central midfield positions and is a free agent as of the 31st of January.
Yeah,
So,
and he's definitely leaving for a European club. That much is clear. The way that he said the way that he celebrated winning the league last week with Kawasaki Frontale, it was quite obvious that he's for the off. And yeah, he is definitely somebody that we could do with. Not a natural left back, but a guy who's played left back most of this season out of necessity.
That's what I was going to ask you, Liam, because I've got a question for you. I've only ever seen him play as a central midfielder or as a six. I haven't seen him at left back, so I wanted to know what's he like as a left back.
Fast, likes to get forward, but quite a wiry player as well for a relatively small guy. He's got a bit of dig about him. Just basically imagine a left-footed sort of mini Tony Ralston, and that's basically him. Not afraid to fly into a tackle, pacey, can really strike a good pass as well. You see a lot of especially when he plays in midfield as well, you see he's really good with those like 30, 40-yard crossfield passes and through balls.
That'd be why Ange wants him. I mentioned it last week about the diagonal balls from midfield.
Aye, that's exactly it's this guy's forte. It's going to be really interesting actually to see at the international break next week if Japan if their starting lineup has Maeda, Kyogo, and Hatate in it, to see how the three of them would work in one team would be very interesting.
Did he play much at the Olympics?
I honestly don't know because I wasn't looking specifically for him at that time. So
yeah, I gather he was called up. I'm not sure if he played or not.
So my next question, Liam, is compared to you said left back's in his natural position, but he can do it. Compared to our current 5 options at left back, where would you place him? If we've got Taylor let's be honest, as our starter, you've got Juranovic playing there out of position at the moment. You've got Scales, Monty, and Bolingoli. Where would you fit him into that?
Right. Unquestionably better than Bolingoli. Better than Taylor, I would say. At the moment, better than Montgomery, but Montgomery is a young developing player, so we don't know his full potential yet. On current form and current status, if he goes in as Celtic's number 1 left back, in my opinion.
That's what I was fishing for. There's the sound grab.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just checking the Olympics here, and he started at centre mid in the semi-finals against Spain.
Right.
At the Olympics. He didn't play in the bronze medal match, but I've not gone through all the games yet.
No, from what I remember, the bronze medal match was pretty much a reserve team. So
he played in defence in the quarterfinals against New Zealand. So yeah, he's moving about for Japan as well.
It's versatile. That's something Ange loves in his players. So multi-positional players. So yeah, looks like if he's a free signing, we can get him on a pre-contract. And then the thing is, we have to wait till the 31st before he can actually sign the paperwork and start. But if he's not playing for his club at the moment, he's a free agent. He could get over, do his quarantine if he needs to, get his work permit sorted, because once he got the pre-contract, we can do all that so he can hit the ground running as of the 31st of Jan. Then that could be a nice, cheap, easy way for us to sort out the left-back position.
I'll say now, don't expect any movement until after Christmas, though.
He won't be allowed to come into the country without his work permit, will he?
And there's still the Emperor's Cup, which the final is traditionally played on New Year's Day. And obviously, as the league champions, Frontale are quite heavily fancied to win that as well. So I'd imagine they're going to be involved in the later stages.
So I wasn't saying for him to come on a play now. I was saying we signed him on a pre-contract, we can start working on his work visa and all that stuff, so that when he's done over there and he's ready to move, he can just hit the road and come straight over.
I'm just thinking from a team morale perspective, I don't think his team would want to announce that until after the Emperor's Cup.
So a quick question: would you have him or James McCarthy in centre midfield?
Oh, him undoubtedly. I think
Okay.
McCarthy's a dud. I wouldn't have signed James McCarthy. McCarthy is one of those for me that, file it under the same thing as Shane Duffy, and can we stop signing people just because they're Celtic supporters, please?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sean, you'll get signed next.
I've still got it in me.
All right, next topic. There was articles earlier in the week, interviews with Victor Wanyama, where he was saying that he never wanted to leave Celtic when he went to Southampton, but understood there was too good an offer for Celtic to turn down, and that he'd love to come back to the club. Keep this one short and sweet. We need a 6. Would you take Victor back? He's 30 years old now. What would you do, Sean?
Yeah.
Liam?
Short answer, yes.
No.
No?
No.
Right, debate it, boys.
I'm afraid that the ship has sailed on that one. I don't want a guy who's been playing in the MSL for the last couple of years and not exactly setting the heather on fire either, by the sounds of it. Great player for us in his day, but his day was 10 years ago. Sorry, move on.
Well, he's our third choice centre back is Stephen Welsh. Our fourth choice centre mid is Nir Bitton. Victor Wanyama is better than both of those. And if he's on a 2-year deal and if he's taking an emotional pay cut, yes.
Now, Liam, I'm just going to say something because of what you commented. Been playing in the MLS in the US, right?
Yeah.
You're saying you don't, and he hasn't set the heather alight, and you don't want to bring him back from there. But
No.
you and me, 3 or 4 months ago, were copping all sorts of shit, and we were giving it to people saying, "What's with this Euro snobbery about people talking down the A League and the J League?" So
Yeah, but
I just want to point that out because I know.
Right. Okay.
We're gonna cop comments about that later on, so I'm just doing devil's advocate work now.
Right, then allow me to retort. I'm talking about players who go there after having played at a higher level, right? If you go from England to the MLS, that's a step down, right? Your career is on a downward trajectory. If you're coming from the A League, the J League, or the MLS into Europe, you're on the way up. Kyogo is on the way up. Hatate, if we get him, will be on the way up. Maeda has already played in Europe, so he's looking to make that step up, right? Victor Wanyama was at his peak at Southampton and at Spurs just after he left us. Then it went down. Once it goes down, it seldom comes back up again, especially once you get over 30. So, love the guy, respect for him. He scored one of the goals against Barcelona, which, was one of the last times I was at a Celtic game with my Uncle Frank, so it means a lot to me personally. But I'm sorry, I think his time's passed.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you on the young, hungry player argument. I'll give you on that.
I agree with what you're saying, Liam. I was just like, I know people are going to comment on it, so I'm just like, I'll give you the chance to state it so they can't argue it.
Yeah.
Next news article thing. Greg Taylor, new contract till the end of the 2025 season. What's your thoughts on that, Liam?
Excellent. Good bit of business. He's a good, solid, reliable Scottish Premier League level defender, and he's a good part of this. He's a good squad player. And I also think it's very good that despite the fact that Ange is being linked with people in Japan, people in Australia, people all over the world, the two major steps he's made since the start of the season has been to sign 2 young Scottish boys on long-term contracts. That's a good statement. It shows that he's still taking an interest in developing Scottish talent as much as importing talent from leagues that he's maybe more familiar with.
And Sean?
Yeah. Tierney was awesome. Izagiri for a while was awesome. And we've really not had much else at left back in the last 20 years, to be totally honest with you. if you're going to put Greg Taylor into the list of every other left back we've had after Tierney and Izagiri, he's pretty much going to be. He could easily be the third one there. Like, I'm struggling off the top of my head to think of one that I would have ahead of him. Like, honestly, can anyone name me one?
I'm just quickly checking it now.
Just giggling. Like,
I mean, technically,
sorry?
What about Tosh?
Tosh McKinley? Well, does he count in his last 20 years? I'm not sure. But either way.
No, just outside of 20 years, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Alan Thompson played left wing back, so
not
technically.
No, not better left back. No, not having it.
No. Okay.
Does Colin McGregor count?
Don't trigger my trauma. Come on.
But honestly, who's the next best left back? Like Lee Naylor, probably. And he wasn't that great. Danny Fox. Do you know what I mean? Like,
scrape the barrel, Sean.
That's the standard. Mo Kamara. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's your next slot after. So yeah, good. If he's on a squad player deal, give him as long as he wants. I think he'll be able to do his job as long as he's focused and fit. And from what I heard, he's quite a professional player. So definitely take him, even if he's not one of the best players in the world. He's a good squad player and someone I'm happy to have in and around the team for a long term.
Totally agree.
But would you rather Greg Taylor or Doig?
Taylor, honestly, but people want to go. I mean, look, that's a weird contextual question because when an 18, 19-year-old is doing well, you go, oh, but they could get even better. Do you know what I mean? Like, do I think Josh Doig right now is better than Greg Taylor? No, I do not. Do I think he could be? Yeah, probably. I'd rather have Aaron Hickey.
I'm just throwing random names that have been linked with in the past up now. That's all I'm doing, Sean.
Yes, I'd rather have Aaron Hickey, yes. But Doig, no. Hickey, yes. Obviously, there's a financial... Like, if Hickey came in, we'd be paying, what, £20,000, £15,000? You know, like... You know, an import from Serie A.
AC Milan. There's no chance we're going to get him.
Yeah, I mean, if we'd got him before he broke out this year, but yes. They were talking about $6.5 million to sign him in the summer. If you sign someone for $6.5 million, you're not paying less than $15,000 a week for the player. And Greg Taylor probably on $5,000-6,000 a week. So as a squad, you know, nobody's saying Greg Taylor's the long-term greatest player in the world that's going to take us to the next level. Hopefully we can get someone in that's better, but you need more than one left back, and I'm happy that Greg Taylor's in and around on that kind of in the squad.
So there's also stories during the week. Celtic are keen to take up the option to make Jota's loan a permanent deal, and said the ball is in Jota's court if he wants to go ahead with it. So all I'm going to say on it is get it done, Celtic. Don't mess around. Just make it happen.
The only thing that can stop this happening is Jota.
Yep.
Like, nobody sees any downside to this. The only thing that would be a problem is that if Jota does the Jack Hendry, it gives the player some control. Like Jack Hendry said, yeah, I'll sign if you give me a release clause. So that's what could happen to us. But other than that, he's a £15 to £20 million player for us in the future. So, and hopefully wins us a shit ton before he gives us that money and leaves.
I mean, if we make the release clause 25 million or something, then, you know, I'd be okay with that personally.
But he holds the power. He can just go back to Benfica and choose where to go, you know.
Aye, but I mean, like, if we sign him permanently and we say to him, okay, we'll let you go to a bigger club, a higher paying club rather, if they give us 25 million minimum.
But what happened with Jack Hendry was Jack Hendry signed for was it Leuven? Is it Leuven? Was that the name of the team? Ostend, sorry. And he said, I'm only going to sign for you if you put a $3.5 million release clause into my contract for any Champions League team.
Right, and then he jumped ship immediately. Right, yeah. Okay, right. I see where you're going there. Sorry, I misunderstood what you meant there. Okay.
Yeah. So Jack Hendry completely 100% dictated the release clause, or his agent did, whatever. Like, set the figure and everything. So that could happen to us.
I know the old saying is don't fall in love with a lone player, but come on, mate. I think the majority of the Celtic support has. Just look at that hair, look at that football, look at the flair out there. Just, mate, get it happen. Get it done, Celtic.
If he's bringing his mum and dad to games, that's got to be good. Yeah.
You know what I noticed, though? One of the teams we could potentially play if we stay in the Europa League, I think. I can't remember which one it is. If we somehow manage to get through, we could play Benfica.
I would imagine it's probably in Jota's contract he can't play against them.
That doesn't normally happen in Europe. It doesn't happen in Europe.
Yeah, that's
can't
a good point,
in Europe.
Because we had to play that formidable striker that was on loan to the Swedish club, remember? Mo Bangura.
Oh, Christ.
Speaking about European football then, Celtic has it confirmed that we'll only have 1,500 seats at the away game by Leverkusen. Any surprises there?
Well, they had none in Hungary, so that's an improvement.
How about our fans, though, in Hungary? The guys who went over managed to get in. Legends.
Yeah.
Celtic family is everywhere.
It's just, unfortunately, that's the way it's going to be probably for another year or two until this pandemic's completely under control. It's just a harsh reality that there's not going to be many people going to be able to make these European trips until everything is properly out the road.
Germany's in a proper pandemic wave just now, so I think 1,500 is good.
Yeah, I think it's doable. We'll fill up our allocation. We'll probably sneak a few more in as we usually do, but yeah, it's going to be it'll be good to see. And I'm hoping in that game that Leverkusen are through, so they've decided, we'll just rest a few guys, and it gives us a chance to get some points. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's a free hit. I know it's a cliche, but that is basically what it is. We're expecting to be gubbed. Everybody is expecting we're going to get gubbed. Just go out there and play and see what happens. You never know.
Yep, I agree. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about, boys, and this is why I left it till last on here, is Celtic have announced that they will be arranging a winter training camp. It won't be in Dubai this time around, which is going to end a 5-year run of us going there, and that Ange is currently working on finding a suitable location in Europe for it. What are your thoughts? What location should we look at? And what are your thoughts in general after the absolute shambles that happened last year? We'll go to you first, Liam.
Well, I think the shambles that happened last year will not happen again because we have a manager who will not tolerate that kind of bullshit. Unfortunately, by the time Dubai came round last year, it was quite clear that Neil Lennon was losing his grip on the team and his authority. Ange does not strike me as the type of guy who will take having his authority challenged by anybody. So wherever we go, it will be a training camp. It's not going to be a jolly. And also, hopefully this time we'll go away having just beat Rangers. So that will make it a lot more palatable to the supporters. What I would say, though, is that the same thing I said last season. I think the Dubai thing, I think a lot of people overreacted to it and reacted to it in the wrong way, right? Our season was basically done before Dubai anyway, right? As soon as we lost that New Year game, I reckon we were pretty much dead in the water. But these trips are always planned months in advance, right? So Ange probably already knows where we're going. He just hasn't told anybody yet, right? It's probably just being finalised as we speak. Make sure there's not a last-minute virus breakout wherever he's planning to go, right? So, if we don't get good results leading up to the training camp, let's not have the same bloody, what's going on? What are they doing going away on holiday when we're so far behind the league? Let's just not have the same temper tantrums this year, please. Let's all just keep a cool head and remember that this is something that ordinary football teams do. if Celtic truly want to be a big club, we have to act like a big club, and big clubs take breaks mid-season and go away and get some sun. That is just what they do.
Yeah, it's not a holiday, it's a work trip. That's the way I look at it. So, what's your thoughts, Sean?
Did they definitely say Europe?
That's what it said in the article that I read. It actually said, a Celtic spokesperson said that Ange is currently working on it, on finalising the European location.
Because I'd be sending them to somewhere like Saltcoats or Stornoway, but that's not in Europe, so I guess not. I'd be quite interested if some picture comes out of Ange Postecoglou and Callum McGregor sitting by the pool having a pint together. That'd be quite a picture. I think that really, the fact that how unimaginable that is really paints the difference in professionalism between this year and last year, and what we're seeing on the pitch and off the pitch. And that's, I agree with what Liam says. Otherwise, that's the only thing I've got to add to that.
I think we'll be looking somewhere, they say warm weather training. So let's see if Jota can hook us up with a place, down in Portugal or Spain, or wouldn't surprise me if we ended up in Greece because of Ange, Greek background. He might think, hey, two birds, one stone, I can go see the family while I'm over there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's going to be one of those ones where if we go to Greece, we can leave Barkas behind. Tell him, take your suitcase, stay home, son. Find a pub while he's over there.
We'll just lose him like Home Alone.
Like you lose your baggage. We accidentally lost a goalkeeper somewhere. We don't know where he is.
But yeah, Barkas, we'll meet you on Friday. Quick, get on Thursday. Get on the flight.
I'm just wondering, are there any leagues in Europe that play? I know, for example, Russia and the Scandinavian leagues, they usually play sort of a February till November kind of season. Are there any of the Central European leagues that do that? Because it would seem to me that would be a good proposition for them as well as Celtic. Go and play a couple of friendly matches with some of these teams that are needing pre-season games.
Do they? I thought it was all the cold countries.
No, they have I'm saying go down the Balkans. Like I know the guys in like Serbia and that, they play same season as us, but they have a winter break as well.
All right. Okay. Aye.
So everyone can get down to Greek islands or something, play some games,
Aye.
Everyone get out to Santorini or something like that. I'm sure there's a football pitch out there somewhere.
I don't know about Serbia, but I know that Croatia is a very popular tourist destination these days. So probably some nice hotels there and whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. Watch this. You'll see. I'm sure we'll discuss the where it is once it's all announced where we're off to and everything. But yeah, everyone just remember it's a work trip. It's not a holiday.
Yeah.
Especially with Ange in charge, it's not going to be like Lenny last year.
Although if we beat Rangers 6-1 in New Year, I'd be quite happy for the boys to all go out and have 18 pints of Guinness each,
Hey, we'll all be having a jolly good time, mate. So
Aye.
they can go have a couple on a jolly as well for a day and then train properly after that. He's the most technically skilled footballer when, they're hungover and shit. See who wins that one. Anything else, boys, you want to add before we wrap up the pod?
No,
I would just say that I think we're in a very good place now. I think looking back on where we were going into the last international break, we are really, really progressing.
Oh, fancy that. Ange knows what he's doing.
Yes, Scottish press and jumping the gun, shocker. Yeah. And can I just say as well to the... particularly to Bill Leckie of The Sun, who decided to write a hit piece on Celtic fans this week, completely ignoring the conduct of various other football teams in recent years. Get it up, you, and actually go back to school and learn how to be a proper journalist, because you're an embarrassment and a disgrace to the profession.
All right, so before we go to our final thoughts for the pod, we'll I just want to say, because international break, we normally have a Q&A section on our pod. What I'm thinking is next week we'll get on and do a live podcast on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to the Celtic Down Under YouTube channel. That way you won't miss out. But what we want to do is we want to get you guys live in the comments asking questions, and we'll answer them and better chat about football in general, Celtic. You could ask us what colour underpants with the Hamburglar is wearing, if that's something that you want to know. Like, I really don't. Just ask whatever questions and we'll do our best to answer them, all right? So, yeah, just subscribe to the Celtic Down Under YouTube channel, and we'll be on I don't know what the time is over there, 11 hours. So, yeah, about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, your time. Final thoughts, Sean?
Just with all these world leaders in Glasgow, it's disappointing we've not had a home game because we feel like we're missing a trick here. We've already got the Albanian president in the CSC, so if we could get like Greta Thunberg and a few other countries in behind, we could be really increasing our international profile. So hopefully we're not missing out on a trick there. Hopefully we pick up a few international fans.
I would just say my final thought is that it's Remembrance Weekend next Remembrance Sunday, whatever's coming up, and it's very important that everybody who's got on their high horse right now, be they Celtic fans or fans of other clubs, please remember a great many people fought to defend Europe from fascism, my grandfather and my great uncle Pat included, and they fought so that we would have the freedom to say no. Okay, disagreeing with people and choosing how you commemorate things, whether it's with wearing a certain red flower or not, is entirely your choice, and you have the freedom to make that choice. That is part of living in a free democracy.
Yep.
All right, and I just want to give a shout out to Willie McStay and all the boys and girls who did the Sligo sleep out for the Celtic Foundation last weekend. Like, great job with that. It's good cause, and yeah, just wanted to say, well done.
Great to see.
Yep, all right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Make sure you subscribe to the Celtic Down Under podcast, but also our YouTube channel so you can see our live podcast next week. Other than that, hail, hail.
Hail, hail.